Oh, Kelly wants. Okay, good. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are now in session 5, which is really hard to believe. That the time has just gone, just absolutely gone. And next week will be our final session. We definitely want to look at putting together the information in the roadmap. But for today, I mean, we've covered in the 4 pillars, and let me go on to share screen. Everything is new this time. It's like, okay. Okay, so in our 4 pillars, we've covered the speaking that we did 2 weeks ago. We looked at writing last week. It seems like yesterday.
It does.
And what I'd like to cover today is looking at exposure and products. So let's start on exposure. So what does exposure mean? What do you think it means?
Like coming on mainstream media, like radio, TV, like being in front of people. Like
wherever you can, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, radio, television, newspapers, magazine, and of course the internet, which is what many people are using now, whether it's one channel or one platform or it's several platforms. People have often said to me, well, what is the best platform for me to use? The best platform is the one that your target audience uses. If they're on Facebook, it's no good being on LinkedIn. If they're on LinkedIn, it's no good putting a lot of energy into Facebook or, Twitter or Instagram. So you have to go where they are. Now, some people like to have a presence on all the different channels. Yes, if you've got a way that doesn't take up too much time and energy, but make sure that it's worth your while doing the platforms. Because I saw Lisa's reaction. I was like, I know you're doing LinkedIn, and you do Facebook as well, don't you?
And Instagram.
And Instagram.
Pinterest and Twitter.
Okay. And do you feel are you getting the results that you are? What kind of, the question should be, what kind of results are you getting? I know LinkedIn is a good platform for you. What are the results you're getting from the others?
I have occasionally gotten leads for speaking engagements and for clients on Facebook. I'm getting more exposure on Instagram, so people are just aware of me more, which I think is good. What I'm doing is kind of recycling the same content across all platforms. And it's seeming to work, because I was trying, this is where you can really get into a lot of trouble, is when you try to do unique content to each of the different platforms.
Yep.
And you know what? It just drives you insane. So don't do that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, that's definitely the strategy, is to use the same content in all the different platforms. By the way, Pinterest has their strategies with Pinterest that apparently are very helpful, very good for podcast for authors. Sorry, Joy didn't get the invite. Let me try and send it again. Let me stop the share for a moment. I apologize. I know it's let's see.
Let's talk amongst ourselves.
Yeah, just talk amongst
That's
yourselves.
fine. Is anybody on TikTok?
No.
I am vaguely, but I haven't gotten into it like I want to, mainly because I run out of time to
create more videos, but a lot of people are successful on there. I think that's one, that and YouTube is where I haven't really capitalized on what I could really do. It's just finding the time to do it. And then I'm so theatrical. I want a studio and all that stuff. And you really ain't got to have all that. But
No, I hired somebody for YouTube. I actually
Did you?
hired her today to help me optimize YouTube, because especially if you want to go into speaking,
Yeah.
you really need an optimized YouTube channel, because that's where they're going to check on your cred.
Yes. Yes. And
so is this a company or individual?
An individual that I'm using. I'm trying her for 3 months.
okay. I'm interested to hear how it goes for you, because I
Okay.
know you've got Art who's doing some work with you on LinkedIn. And by the way, I did reach out to him again.
Mm.
So yeah, I mean, you've got to know the strategy, and it's a long game. They're all long games. This isn't just pop in, get something and pop out again. You know, it takes time. You're building, you're nurturing relationships. That's why I personally think it's very tough to do it on many different channels. So it's to look at, you know, where you're going to get the most bang for your buck. I did an interview, a podcast interview, and Jane, would you remind me? And I'll send that out to everybody. I'm making a note as well. Podcast interview with a lady who specializes in Pinterest, and she had some great things to say about how authors can use Pinterest. So
Can I ask a
Oh,
question?
interesting. Wow.
yeah.
I would never think of it. You know, Pinterest is to get clothes, that's, you know, and inspiration
Well,
for makeup and nails.
Apparently people use it for all sorts of things. And
Yeah.
so again, it's a strategy. It's knowing how, and I'll send you the podcast interview
Awesome.
and listen to it and check it out. So yeah, Lisa, you had a question.
Since you mentioned podcasts, so I met with somebody about, and his specialty is he guarantees that he will get you on the top 100 podcasts within 6 months. You have to pay a premium for it, and I did not commit to anything. But what is your feeling? Because you have a podcast. His thought is, if you are converting clients once you have the conversation with them, if your conversion rate is high, he said, and you're not getting as many clients as you want, it's probably because you're not consistently in front of the right audience. So his thought, and of course it's his area of specialty, is that podcast, if you get it to a high performing podcast and it's your right audience, that could be exactly what you need. What is your thought on that?
And the answer is yes. And
I want to hear your and.
So I'm looking into this. I just hired somebody on Fiverr to do a research on all the different podcasts that I could potentially be on. And I'm just working with a VA at the moment who one of her clients gets people onto podcasts, and she said she will share with me, you know, like the letter that you write and, you know, how to go about this strategically. So hold off on anything, and I'm happy to share.
Yeah, that would be great. I'm not committing because, like I said, it's a lot of money, but he has a whole team that he works with, and they do that. And they work a lot on what we've already talked about, like your pitch and making it very unique. And, you know, so because he said you have to kind of woo the podcasters,
The
you know,
host.
they
I mean,
host.
I get pitches all the time.
Yeah.
And I know if somebody has listened to my podcast, because they pitch me in the right way. If they don't, if they're just pitching a book, I'm like, I'm not interested in books. I'm interested in people and their marketing savvy. So, and they don't have to be authors. So it really is a matter of what is the format of the show, and listening to the show and knowing what people are what hosts are looking for.
Yep.
So yes.
Oh, there's Joy.
Yeah, Joy made it. Yay, yay, you made it.
Oh my
Susan, I sent you a link
goodness.
in the chat.
Hi, Joy.
Hi,
Hello.
I'm so sorry. I've been trying to get on for the last
I'm-
20 minutes or so.
I'm sorry too, but yeah, you're here. You're here.
Okay. Well, can you send me the replay?
Absolutely. I will
Okay,
send
thank
everybody the replay.
Okay, thank
Yeah, because Kelly wants it, because Kelly couldn't make it today. So yes. So Jane was kind enough to put in the chat, the podcast link for the interview I did with Kate on Pinterest. So that's worth listening to. She was really
Where?
good.
In which chat? I don't have anything.
Yeah, I don't have
Oh.
anything either.
Sorry, I just sent it to Susan by accident. Sorry. I'll get it to everybody. Ah,
Try to mess with us, huh?
she got it twice. All right. You've got it
Thank
once.
No worries. Thank you. Thank you for
There you
doing
go.
that, Jane.
Sure.
Yes. Okay. So yes, so for exposure, obviously podcasts are definitely a strategy that if that's one that you want to go after, that's going to be on your sheet as a project that you're going to, be on X number. I want to be on one a week.
Can I ask you something, Susan? I'm
Yes.
just curious about, like, do you look, when people pitch to you, do you look on their following, like how many people they have on their social media? Is that like decisive for you?
It's not important to me.
Okay.
I know maybe it should be, but I mean, I do want them to promote it, and I give them the opportunity to do that. I mean, I send them a graphic, I send them obviously the recording, I send them an embed code that they can put it on their website. So I send them all the tools that they need. I send them a QR code. I create a QR code for the episode. But I know, I mean, I was just on a podcast, and she sent me the recording, and she's got a whole list of things that she wants me to do. So I could get a little more fussy about, people promoting it. Because of course, I've got my list. They've got their list. And of course, I've got all the platforms that I'm on. I'm on about 12 or so platforms. I'm on all the big platforms. So yeah. And I had 40,000 listeners, downloads last year.
Nice.
So, and I'm considered in the 1.5% of podcasts worldwide. So I'm like, okay, that's not bad.
Do you get leads from that? Like people contact
So
you?
I'm starting to, Kareem, because, it took me a while to realize that I could be advertising my own stuff on my podcast. I'm a slow learner, you know that. So now when you listen to the podcast, I say at the end, if you want a brainstorming session, with Susan here, brainstormwithsusan.com, and you get a free 20-minute session. And I'm noticing all these people who are making appointments with me. So for me, Kareem and I are in a mastermind together, and the language is a strategy session, so I'm using that as a strategy session. That is, they're coming to me, they want me to give them some advice. And that can lead to more, it's usually more of a coaching than publishing, but it might be publishing as well. So depends where they're at with their books. So yeah. And interestingly enough, I mean, I've had several recently who want help or support writing their book. So I don't know.
Okay.
It's having the
Yeah, 'cause
conversations.
I guess for me, it's like I don't have that big following, so I don't even know if it's worth it for me to start reaching out. Like I do podcasts when people invite me because they know me,
Yes.
you know, they've seen me. But then me reaching out in my mind is like, oh, they're gonna see, because I don't really focus on following. My philosophy is having true followers, even if it's 1,000, is better than having.
Yeah,
I've
it's
had people that
absolutely,
have
it's
20, 30,
quality.
50,000 followers and they make no money.
Yeah.
So I was, that's kind of like my personal.
No, but for you, getting the exposure on virtual summits and podcasts would be very good. I mean, these are free opportunities to get exposure to other people's audiences. And that's what you're looking for. You're
Mhm.
looking to get exposure on other people's, to other people's audiences. Yeah. So let's go back to the little screen share. There we go. So yes, I mean, before the internet, I mean, in the olden days, it was all about hustling, the media and working with the media. And that's really what I did. For instance, when I was in the trade show industry, I targeted every single magazine that there was that covered the trade show industry, the exhibiting industry worldwide. And I was in every single one of them.
Mhm.
Now these publications are online. And I think still, many trade associations are doing newsletters, and they're looking for material. So if again, when you're speaking to your right audience, you could reach out and look at what's available where you can be seen. One of the easy ones at the moment is Medium, but you've got a lot of competition on Medium. It's medium.com. And Jane, could you put that in the chat for me, please?
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I love the media, and and the big thing with these articles was in the byline is I had a lead magnet that I wanted people to download. And that was literally an article, the 10 common mistakes exhibitors make, or the 7 deadly sins exhibitors make. It was an easy download. And that's what we're still doing now, the lead magnets. We want people to come to the site to sign up for something, and that can be in your byline. Okay. So whenever you have that opportunity, and by the way, one of the most overlooked pieces of real estate for you to get exposure is in fact your own email, what do you call it? Your signature, your email signature. So don't overlook that. You want to put in there, you want to cover a picture of your book, you want to, and even if you want to put your lead magnet in there, so it links to something. If you want to sell the book, you link the image of the book to Amazon or to wherever you want them to buy the book. Okay. And what was the other thing? Yes, another overlooked media opportunity is with local papers or local radio stations, local television stations. They are the people who are hungry. They'll they literally want to they want information. They need information. So if you can do that too, that would be very helpful for you. Get known locally. Why not? Yeah.
Only thing what I have found on things like that, there's a fee.
There shouldn't be. Then if they're doing that, then it's not PR, it's advertising.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
So if it's pay to play, I'm going to say I'm not interested. I'd be it would have to be going to the right people, and you don't know that.
Yeah.
So you don't need to pay to play. If it's in the form of an article, like for instance, you and I talked about a press release for I can come off this now, for your book signing.
Mhm.
And I've got a template for a book for a press release for you. So yes, it's just send that out. They won't charge you for that.
Okay.
Cool. You're sharing local news for them. I mean, our local paper, they'll print verbatim what I send them. I mean, yeah, they're so happy. I think the only thing that they sometimes change is the headline, which is fine by me. They can put whatever headline they want.
Yeah. Theirs might be more catchy. You just don't know.
Exactly. Theirs might be more catchy. So yes. So look at those kind of opportunities. Don't overlook your local market. They may not necessarily pay the big bucks, but it's exposure. And as they say in PR, there is no bad exposure. It's just exposure.
True.
You want people to remember who you are and what you do, you know. So the more you can do that, the better. And then, of course, trade associations. And again, I was talking to Lisa about SHURM, which is the association for
HR
HR
professionals.
Thank you.
executives, yeah.
Yes, I'm like human resources. I was like, I've got it on the tip of my tongue. Yes, like human resources. And Bridget, you've got associations. You've got all your teachers associations. You've got your superintendents associations. You've got educators. You know, look at those associations as well, but especially at a local level to start with. And that's an incredible opportunity sometimes to get in the back door to get to national events. Because sometimes, you know, if they've not heard of you, you know, they're not going to have you as a keynote speaker at a major, you know, national or regional event. So you want to get known. So as somebody said to me, I see you everywhere. And I'm like, I'm not everywhere, but it's their perception that they see you here, they see you in the media, they see you in an article, they hear you speak. So I call it the dripping faucet. So as long as that faucet is dripping, then the bathtub is going to fill up. And again, it's a long game. This is not, you know, let's do a quick one. Oh, that didn't work. Let's try something else. So it's really being dedicated to one or two things. No, don't try and do it all. You know, if you want to make podcasts your thing, then make podcasts your thing. If you want to make, you know, getting articles in places, make that your thing. Okay. Does that make sense, everyone?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Joy, how are you doing there? Are we
I'm
still
just trying to-
overwhelming you?
Yes, yeah, I'm just trying to catch up and trying to get over being frustrated, not getting on for the last half hour. But
Let it go. Let it go. Take a deep
yes,
breath.
I know. Yeah, definitely. Let it go and be present. Yeah, so that's what I'm
Exactly.
doing.
Exactly. You can't
I
worry
did work
about that.
on
We
a
didn't
list.
cover that much. You didn't miss much, darling. You
Oh,
really
okay. And I watched the replay.
You'll watch the replay and you'll see we really didn't. But yeah, it again, make use of the office hours, because Bridget and Lisa can attest to
Mhm.
what we did Monday was heavy work, eh?
Yes.
Yeah. So
And then you came back and, I mean, after you sat and listened to me and we brainstormed, then you came back and gave me the whole template on the order which I should follow up with people.
yeah.
So like I have Metro United Way, just different things, the way you lined it up. It's a roadmap, really just like what we're going to do today.
Yeah, exactly. And your roadmap is going to look different
Mhm.
than Lisa's, for instance, or Kareem's, or Joy's, because you're going after funding primarily at this point. Making the application. Did you make the application to that one place?
I'm in the process of filling it out. I got me a block grant writer that's going to look over it after which is not a great big grant, but it's still,
Everything counts, darling.
she's going to look over it and make sure I got all the points and everything. So I did get introduced to that yesterday to this lady. And also there is a nonprofit that has a program called Inspire, and they might want to collaborate with the Fund Financial Literacy Program because they only have programs for middle and high school. And so they want to do the younger children.
Okay,
So
good,
through that.
good. Write it down, make a note, add it to the list. I also looked up, what did I look up? Educational crowdfunding for educational projects. There are certain crowdfunding sources that are specially for what you're looking for. So go and
Indiegogo.
do a search on Google.
Yeah.
Okay?
Indiegogo is one of them. And I know Kickstarter is one
but
that a
there
lot
are
of
lots of
authors on
others. There are
Yeah.
other ones I'd never heard of, because
Really?
I think of
Okay.
Indiegogo and Kickstarter, but I'd never heard of some of these others. So again, it's doing this research. Google is just your best friend. It really is. Okay. So exposure, as I said, go after as much of it, any of it. There's no good or bad. It's just exposure. Okay. And then the next pillar are products. So your book is ripe for all sorts of products. So let's brainstorm a few of them, and then I'll show you my list. And then so let's brainstorm a few. And Jane, if you'd be good enough to take some notes for me, please, on this. What do you think? What kind of products? Well, I mean,
Like
Bridget's
blogs or
the
t-shirts.
product genius. Yeah.
Workbooks.
Workbooks. Yeah. Kareem, what did you say?
Mugs or t-shirts. I don't know if that counts.
It does, if it's the right thing for your audience.
Okay.
I personally would like you to think about it more in terms of educational material. The other promotional items are great if they fit. But the educational items are key. Okay.
Can you give me ideas of
Oh,
things?
we're going to. That's what we're
I'm
brainstorming.
like, tell me.
I'm not giving them to you all yet. We'll brainstorm and then I'll give you mine. What else? Bridget, what?
Could be games or something?
Games, it could be games. Absolutely. Gamification now is big. It's very big. So if your material lends itself to some kind of game, yeah, there are people on Upwork or Fiverr who could do this for you. But again, don't do it for the sake of doing it. Do it if it's relevant and it would make sense.
Mhm.
So I
Um,
use Score app, which is a survey. You can create your own surveys with them. So I created a stress and wellness assessment that I put at the bottom of my email. I put it on my LinkedIn profile.
Perfect.
And I can't say that it per se has gotten me a client, but it has attracted a lot of interest. Indirectly, it has, because it has helped my follower count, which then are people who are engaged in what I'm doing.
Yes.
So it's more of an attraction kind of thing, as opposed to, okay, I'm really getting a lot of leads from it. Does that make sense?
It's a drip.
It's a drip. Thank you.
It's a drip.
Yes.
Yes.
I want to
And
do one of
every
those for
drip
learning
counts.
styles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a drip. So yes, assessments. I've got one author who on his website, that's his lead magnet, is to do an assessment.
But like what I'm guessing, I mean, I just want to make sure that I understand. Products to me is something that I can sell, right? Like if I do an assessment and I don't charge it, could that be a product?
It's more of a lead magnet if it's not a charge. If it's a charge, it's like what our colleague Scott uses. He uses the fascination profile. There's also DISC profile. There's also Myers-Briggs. Those are all profiles that, you know, you purchase and you you resell if you become certified by them. So
Got it.
that could be. Now, does your material lend itself to creating a profile? Maybe yes, maybe no. It might be, you know, it isn't, I wouldn't necessarily
Not
say,
naturally, right? Like I could just make it, but it's not something that naturally I could, you know, make it a test or something.
yeah, it's like a little fun assessment of, you know, are they a good leader? Are they, you know, are they suffering from burnout? Are they, you know, do they feel shame about things? You know, it could be different things. But I think in this instance, it's more as a lead magnet, as an attraction, like Lisa's using it.
Mhm.
So what is that? Have you got the link for that, Lisa? Score?
Let me put mine in there so you can see what it is. And then
Do you
I'll
want to
put
share?
the,
Do you want to share your screen and show us?
I'll just put the link in the chat. I'm
Okay.
just trying to get it to pull it. It's taking its own sweet time.
I know. It's our good friend. Okay. So let me share what I have got as the top in informational products to sell. So that when you use it as an informational product, you don't have to necessarily have stock. Like if you were going to do t-shirts and mugs, you're going to have to perhaps do quantities of them. Or I know there are places like Zazzle, you can get one-offs. And that could be a nice thing if you wanted to give that away to someone. But I wouldn't necessarily say that it would be something you want to necessarily focus on.
Yeah,
So
I got it.
online courses are obviously the big thing at the moment. The thing with online courses, if you're going to do one, have a live component to it. Offer, if somebody buys a course, that you have maybe once a month, you do, like I did, the office hours, where you just answer questions, do a Q&A. invite people to a Q&A. The
Hello.
thing with online courses is people buy them, they start them, and they don't finish them. I mean, I'm a big culprit of that. I don't know if any of
Yeah.
you are, or it's just me, but
No,
yeah.
One of like every 20 courses, maybe.
Yeah.
I told them to move it down and send it.
Yeah, I mean, it really, it's
Off
a,
of that.
it's,
Let me add that.
it's tough. I'm gonna, Bridget, can I put
Sorry.
you on mute?
Mhm.
Can you, Bridget, can you mute yourself, darling? Please.
Can we what?
Oops,
I
I
don't think
can't
it
even, I can't even
Okay.
find her to
You
mute
can
her
mute
now.
her. Mhm.
Well,
Like
Oh,
over her image on the
Yeah.
screen.
yeah, I
it
know,
would-
it's not, it's because I'm on screen share, I can't do it.
God is answering the way He
And
wants to
I've
answer. He's
lost,
doing things in His time.
I've lost
So
my,
sometimes you think it's late. but
okay,
it's
there
the
it is. I've just muted her. Okay, thank you. Thank you. I just couldn't find my mouse, which is what or my pointer, which is what I had the other day, which was very disconcerting. So online courses, ebooks. Your book is you could turn every single chapter into its own ebook if you wanted. Or maybe some of the juicier chapters could be a little ebook. And that could be a giveaway, that could be a lead magnet, or you could sell it for a couple of dollars or something. Again, it's just a way of getting it out there. And I actually produced a series of books, which was all material from the original book.
Did you ever have someone saying like, oh, it's just the same thing, like the big book, the little book?
Never. Never. And yeah, the crazy thing is, hold on, let me show you. I'll show you. Should have had it ready. Okay, so I produced 4 little separate books, booklets. These were all in the main book the original book. These were standalone. I sold them. I've got a $6.95 price tag on there. But I think if people bought them in quantity, or I gave them away, it just had a value to it. Okay.
I had a membership. I had a membership course, but it was time consuming to stay on. I was live with it, the classes.
Yeah.
And it was a 14-week course to teach teachers how to start their own profitable tutoring business. And I did well with it. It was just time consuming. So now I have a site that's called Fresh Member or something. I haven't even used it or even delved into it, but the name of it is Tutoring the Profits. But I hope to one day get modules on there that people can buy because I have the requirements for each state on how to start the business.
Exactly. And people
I have my grant that we wrote. I still have all the whole grant on a CD, so all of that knowledge and the grant that I won, and I've used that, and just what the industry is doing right now and how much is paying out. So it was really good, but it was too time consuming.
But all of that can be turned into cash because people will pay for it. If they want that information, they will pay for it. And if they can't get it elsewhere, they'll do that. And so going back to those booklets, each of those booklets appeared in these were anthologies I put together, combination books. And my chapter is one of these, okay, in the book. So I've repurposed my material, and you can do that. Again, different kinds of exposure. Let's have a look. What else did we have
And
here?
nobody has ever noticed it. That's
Nobody's ever noticed it.
mine.
No.
I'm like, people are gonna come and tell you that I
Can't she tell us something new? She shared that already.
Well, it's just like a new
exactly.
edition.
Like it's the exact thing. Look.
Well, and it's not the same people who get
Right.
this and who got this. These are
Right.
different people. Okay.
Different problem solved.
Yeah, yeah. So membership programs. I'm going to talk to you next week, introduce the author influencer circle that I've just formed. And I'm looking for 10 foundation members. And so we'll talk about that in more detail next week. But again, something else that you can add to what you're offering. If it's the right thing, you don't do it for the sake of doing it. You've got digital templates. That's what Bridget's talking about now, templates. She's got all this information that other people can use, and people will pay money for that. I had tip sheets and checklists. I think I might have mentioned that I sold. I sold tip sheets and checklists for they were $50 each. A set of 50 was $50, and they were downloads. I didn't even have to print them. People printed them themselves. But for people to have the right to use them, audio and video products, that's. I've looked to package, for instance, some of my podcasts, the top 10 in this particular field, and be able to sell those. Software programs. Tip sheets, checklists, that's my favorite. They're easy peasy. You've got it all in the book. It's just a matter of picking out, salient points. And I'm good at that, so's Jane. So if you want to do that, we can definitely look at that. A subscription service of some kind, if that fits your model, and a certification. Bridget's looking at train the teacher programs, certifying teachers to teach her program. That's a good model for her. So these are just a few of the kinds of things that you can think about when you think about products. Thoughts, questions? Again, don't think that you have to do any of them or all of them. If it fits what you're doing and where you're going with your roadmap, then these are ideas to add to that.
Can I
like
just
the
share
subscription.
something?
No, go on.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, like an idea that I have, I'm just gonna, try it. So
Absolutely.
what I'm doing is I have one of the clients that I work with, they have a book club, right? Like they have this, it's like a reading in community. So it's not so much about saying their opinions about the book, but then saying what did they implement in their lives.
Yes.
So even though, the readers do not pay for the book, right? Because usually what they do is they just get, the free copies online. I'm thinking about, I'm going to, give my book for free, the online copy. And then I'm going to have like outside of that, because, we don't read it with the author, but I'm going to do like a session for each chapter. And then have, you said like the live component, and then maybe packaging that.
Fabulous.
So that one, people, they didn't pay, but I could just, have someone that I can go through it.
Absolutely. And look if your book is right for other people's book clubs, because that's another way to get your book read. Joy, I think your book is ripe for book clubs. Especially women's book clubs. When people are talking and, then it's meet the author and then they meet you, and it can either be in person or it can be, you know, like this on Zoom, and talk to you about the book. And you know, they've read the book and they're going to ask you questions about it.
I like that.
You could form discussion questions that go with the book, so that, you know, a bit like Oprah does it, you know, Oprah's book club, it's Joy's book club, you know, what she recommends, and she's recommending her book.
Well, Susan, I used to do women's support group. So I'm looking to bring it back. My problem is finding free space because I used to do it, as
Do
a
it
community
online, do it
project.
online.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's what I'm
right.
thinking. Yeah, doing a
Yes.
Zoom, and I think that would work just perfect with what I'm doing.
Absolutely,
And each
absolutely.
chapter
And
can be a lesson.
each chapter could be, that's what Kareem is talking about, taking each
Mhm.
chapter and turning it into a lesson.
Yeah.
And teaching that, and the book is your book, and they're
Mhm.
reading it, and then, you know, each week you look at another component. I mean, Kareem started a book club, which and we had a book and went through with it. So yeah. So what stood out for you? What are you picking up? Joy's got her groups. What Lisa, what is anything jump out at you that might be you know, an area you want to follow, a strategy, a project?
Well, at some point I liked the thought, because I was trying to think of, okay, when I do online course, which I will do at some point, but I don't want to invest the money in it right now.
Yeah.
I like taking a chapter and making that into like a module.
Yep.
Like, oh, I could totally see that happening. And my book would be conducive to that, because there are reflection questions at the end of each chapter. So I think that would be a natural progression. So I'm going to see, I really want to focus on the speaking, because that's what I enjoy. And the podcasts, it's just kind of a different avenue
Yeah.
to get more exposure. And I also have to get through my certification with positive intelligence, because that is a lot of work. So once I can get all that done, then maybe the next step could be the course.
Yes. And I don't think it's going to be that hard or that expensive for you to do. You could do it very simply. You don't have to have the all singing, all dancing version in the beginning. Seriously.
Well, you have to find a platform to load it into. And I am not techie enough to want to even tackle that. It's
easier than you
stresses
think.
me.
That's easier than you think. So
I don't want to do that.
If it's something that you want to do, can definitely talk about that. But you're right, focusing on the speaking, because that it's almost like a full-time job.
Right.
Just doing that. Yeah. Good.
Yep.
Kareem, what for you? What stood out for you?
I mean, the speaking, of course, is one, and what I just told you about making the book.
Yes.
I mean, it seems natural, right? Like the other ones right now, to do several at the time, like a podcast, I like the idea, but it does, as you said, like it does take commitment and work and, media. I think the book is something that feels natural to me, and I think I could do it easily.
I think the more you can cut, dice, and slice your book,
yeah, that was the other thing, because I didn't know how. You just said it, right? Like just read the book and then just extract some things that you could just make it
yeah,
that's genius.
Yeah. And you're working with corporations, I mean, they've got discussion questions, these are nice things that you can do.
You could use each chapter as a training.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So what have you got? 10 chapters in the book? 12 chapters?
Seven
chapters. Perfect. A 7-week course.
Yes.
It's a great number.
actually exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. We can talk more about that. Okay. Joy, you're going to, Bridget, I know you said you have to go, but,
I'm trying to copy and paste everything for Lee.
Just copy the chat.
I'll
Just-
copy.
Just
I
save
can
the chat.
Save the chat. You should be able to save it.
Put 3 dots on the side, right next to the little smiley face down the bottom where you do your message.
Okay.
Save the
It says
chat.
Save chat.
Save the
And then
chat,
you'll have
okay.
everything and you don't have to panic.
Okie dokie. Where is it
And
at?
I've saved it too, so
Okay.
I can always send it. Okay.
Yes. I have a site too that I brought called Fresh Member. I've never used it, but I named it Tutoring the Prophets. I bought it for $99 and you can put your membership on that. So that's one thing on the back burner. One thing, I got to get a team because I'm only one person and I have a VA, but I need to develop a team of people. I don't think
Yeah,
people
you
have the
have to
same
look at
passion as I have.
what you
Um,
need most, you know, because there are lots of opportunities of people who can help you. But I think if you make a list of what's priority for you and what you need the most help with, and then go and then start looking for that person. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. And Joy, you're going to look out.
Yeah, I really like the idea of the tip sheet and the checklist and a membership program. I had thought about the membership program years ago, but I never really knew how to navigate it or to do it. But I like the repurposing of the book, definitely. And then my book actually has 21 chapters. So is that too long to have a 21 classes?
I have more than that.
Oh, you do? Oh,
I
okay,
do.
good, good. Okay,
No, you know,
okay.
I mean, and it may be that two things can go together if you wanted
Oh,
to,
okay.
or you don't have to cover the whole thing. You just, you know, one
Yeah.
chapter might be, you know, more relevant in terms of juicier material to be able
Oh,
to
okay,
have discussion questions on than
Okay.
others.
okay. Yeah, I love the tip sheet and checklist. I actually really love that even for myself when I see that, because it's like really deep, juicy information that it's in one page and it's like boom, boom, boom. You know, it's like, I love it. So that's what I'm going to start working on for me, you know,
Yeah,
out of my
do.
book.
And that could be a good lead magnet for you.
Oh,
That
okay.
you could be giving out and you can let people know that you have that available.
Okay.
Jane, anything for you or what kind
Oh,
of,
definitely a workbook.
yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
you've
that's
been
that's
talking
easy
about that.
and that'll just walk them right through what they need to do. So that's pretty good. I can just augment the one that I've got already and just change the language a little bit. So yeah.
And I don't know if we've discussed this, but you can charge a lot more for a workbook than you can for your book.
Oh,
I think
wow.
Lisa's already doing that. What are you charging for your workbook, Lisa?
I don't charge for it. I'm just using it as like a bonus incentive for people to buy the book. Or if they attend a webinar or give me their email address after attending the webinar, then I'll give it to them. So
I'd make it more valuable. That would you know, I invite you to consider that, to make it more valuable, because the way you just, you know, just described it now, it's like, oh, it doesn't have value because it's like, oh, it's a giveaway. No, it's got value.
What would you say that you could charge for something like that?
Depends what you're going to do with it. Depends what
Oh.
you're going to do with it. So, I mean, there are people who charge $50, there are people who charge $20.
Mm.
You know, in academia, you can charge $100.
Okay.
You know, so it just depends. But I would definitely have you've got a value attached to it though, Lisa, don't you?
I remember kind of talking about it, but I don't think I'm going to have to look to see if it is on there because
Yeah.
honestly, I don't remember.
Okay. Well,
Because I really was not planning on using it for anything. It was really other than kind of an incentive to purchase the book.
Well, and you say, and you purchase the book and you will get a copy of the workbook that's valued at $20, $25. So
Okay.
it's starting to give it value, even though you're giving it away. That's
Right.
okay. Doesn't mean you have to charge for it, but it's like, oh, wow, she's giving me a $30 or a $25 workbook with the book. So
I'm
they're
looking
getting,
at it.
what is it, $19.99 the book?
Yes.
Yeah. So they're getting that. So you're giving them, $40 worth of product for $20.
See, there's no price on it.
Stick a price on it.
Mhm.
It's a PDF. Put a price on it.
Because I remember having this conversation with Yale, and I think she said, don't put a price on it. But I
Okay.
could
Well,
be.
I'm telling you to put a price on it.
Okay. Okay.
I'm
Point.
overriding your ale.
Point. No, don't. I'm not trying to throw her under the bus. So
No,
just-
no.
you know nothing. Point taken. I understand what you're saying. Yeah, I'm going through it right now. I'm not seeing.
It's
there's
it's
nothing.
she just can put it on the back cover,
Mm.
put it or on the front, just at the bottom in the tiny. You can do if it's a PDF.
Yeah, it
send
is.
if it's a
So you
PDF,
can
send it
put
to me.
one price, they say $40, but then you sell it for 20. So people will be like, oh my God, I'm getting a discount."
Exactly. Give me a
So it
price.
is.
Send me the PDF. I'll put it on there for you.
Okay, fantastic. Do you want me to email it or put it in the chat for you?
No, email it.
So Susan, do you need an ISBN for workbooks?
If you sell it separately,
Oh,
and,
okay.
and you want it to, if you're going to put it on in a bookstore or something, yes.
Oh, okay.
If it's just you doing it to your people, no.
Okay.
Okay. And the way I think you guys are going to use it is just for your own use.
Mm.
And even if you have a course and it's part of the course, you don't need to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before I forget, so the password changed to Aviva, not.
Yeah, I've
Oh.
yes, because
okay.
I've taken over the account of my Zoom, and we did a password, and I didn't realize that, of course, I needed to give you the password. So I
Yeah.
created the password, but didn't give it to anybody.
Okay. I'll make
So my apologies that I goofed here. So we'll get
Now
it
I
right.
know.
We'll get it right for next week. And for Monday, I'll send out a new one for Monday. And yes, start thinking about continuing working together, forming this author influencer circle. As I said, we're looking for 10 founding members, and we'll talk more about what it'll involve, but it's a way for us to continue the journey and really go into depth, especially with the speaking, with the coaching, with your products, with the, putting together, finding templates that were right for you. So yeah, definitely. Okay, ladies, you're amazing. Thank you always for
Thank
staying that little
you.
bit later.
Thank you.
And if you want help, especially as we're going to fill out the worksheet, the roadmap for next week, definitely come in on Monday.
Did you
3
send
o'clock.
that yet?
Thank you.
I
Okay,
sent
ladies,
it
I have to go.
yesterday.
Bye-bye. See you
Bye.
next week.
Bye.
care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Susan, I
I
sent you
sent
my
an
PDF.
email. I'll send it again if you didn't get it.
And I sent you my PDF.
Perfect.
So thank you. Bye, ladies.
Okay.
And
Bye.
I'll send you that referral, Jane. I'll do it right now before I forget.
Thank you.
Okay.
you.
Okay, so
All right.
Susan, you're sending that today, the
I
roadmap?
sent it and I'll send it again.
Oh, okay. For
Jane, if
some
you've
reason,
got a
I'm
few
having
minutes.
email challenges.
Okay,
Okay, okay, thank you. I'll see you on Monday.
okay, great. Thank
Okay.
you.
Aloha.
Bye.
Aloha.
Bye. Aloha. Yay.
Ta-da.